Who are you and why are you here?
I feel like you've asked everybody that question, yeah.
We've been given some standardized questions.
I'm John Graham, Vice President of Employer Brand Strategy, Humanity and Culture at Shaker. And I help our clients think about their employer brand strategy from end to end, not just the pieces and the parts. How does EVP connect to EB, connect to RM, and everything in between, and how do we bring it to life in a way that makes sense for your organization and your culture.
And you presented earlier today. Talk about that presentation.
Yeah, we were talking about the predictions for 2025 as far as recruitment marketing and employer branding. So getting thought leaders from Visa and AutoZone to share their perspectives, things that they're working on now. What do they see as the challenges? Of course, AI was a conversation, as it is in every conversation. But also the DEI landscape and how that's shifted significantly, and how do you brand in the context of a company that might be rolling commitments back? How do you get leadership, the disconnect between leadership experience and the frontline experience, and how do you bridge that gap with employer branding? And I think we also spoke about not looking at bringing people in for lifetime careers, but more so being a launch pad for the career that they need now. And if they go somewhere else, awesome, but take this goodwill of the brand with you and the values and the opportunities that you got to grow.
You mentioned AI being a hot topic, and yes, it indeed has.
Yes.
Are we as branding organizations putting too much trust, faith in technology and not enough about the human part of our business? Or are there companies bringing both together for two great tastes that taste great together? What's your take on that?
Oh, I think you nailed it. I think we have to be cognizant of the balance between humanity and technology. You can't depend too much on technology because you're still dealing with real people. And you can't give all of your agency away to an AI, Gen AI, a chatbot, any of that, because it might not be right. So I think what we're reconciling now is which bias are we comfortable with, right? Obviously there's bias in AI because people made it. There's bias in people, so we can't trade off one for the other. The question is, which one are we going to be more comfortable with and accept what comes with that? So yeah, I think we need to inject a bit more humanity in and leverage AI as a tool, not as a surrogate.
One of the more fascinating things that I've sort of learned in the last few months, particularly here at this show, is we went from a period where the black hole is bad, having applicants apply and not hear from us is bad. Now let's automate it where they do have a conversation. That's good. But now it's swinging to, okay, that's bad because it's not authentic, it's not human, it's not real. It can't be one or the other. Like, where do we go from here? Do we scale human beings? Does the AI get that much better that we don't know the difference between a human and a robot? You're nodding your head yes.
I think that's going to be the move.
Tell me, what does the future look like?
It's going to be indistinguishable at some point where you won't know if you're speaking to a human or not. And that's good from an efficiency perspective, but that's also meaning you're replacing human beings. So there's going to be a balance of it. I think with every era of technological advancement, it's a reduction or an augmentation of the labor force. Saw it with the change, with the advent of automobiles, assembly lines. Every progressive advancement, it removes some of the manual tasks from it, but then it creates a whole nother industry that didn't exist before. And I think people forget that yes, some things might go away, but it's going to create a whole bunch of opportunities in places that we don't even know yet.
Give me your take on the current state of DEI. A few years ago, it was like, yes, that's a good thing, let's do it. It became politicized, weaponized. Companies stepped back, didn't want to touch it. What's the current state of that issue?
So I think we're at a point where DEI is now going through its own rebranding. And if you're a student of this space, you know that for the past 60 years, there's been a series of progressions and regressions. It's just a natural ebb and flow. When you start making progress, people will pull it back. but the key is you're incrementally moving forward. I think we're at a point right now where we're being honest about what can change, what people are willing to change, and then what can we do within that construct? What are we doing within the context of employer brand and recruitment marketing? How honest are we going to be about our culture? What are we going to do as a company as far as what we're donating to or not anymore? And some companies have made headlines for pulling their commitments back all the way.
Yeah.
Based on pressures from activist investors, perceived risk for their consumer bases, whatever the case may be. The challenge is that the issues for the people who are most marginalized didn't go away because a company rolled back its commitments. So they're going to have to contend with it in some way.
Jumping back to technology real quickly, 2024, what were the tech trends that stood out to you? You do a lot of vendors, so I'm sure your take on this is pretty interesting. 2024.
Yeah, so this year it's been a lot of automation. AI has been the buzzword in everybody's tech platform. But I think getting to candidates faster, whether it be through your recruitment marketing efforts, getting higher quality candidates through automation, storytelling, and video, a lot of video platforms, and ambassadorship for existing employees to be amplifiers of the brand. So I think we've seen a lot of that this year, and it's really a circle back to maybe like 2016, 17, where that was sort of emerging. Now we're having a renaissance, technology is becoming better. But interestingly enough, I think we're going to see more of that. We're going to have to.
Let's talk about that. We took a step back. Now let's look forward. A year from now, what will the tech trends be that we talked about?
Well, I think AI is going to get smarter. I think that there's going to be, while the advancement of the technology is inevitable, I think you're also going to start to see more of a double down on human-centered experience. So it's not just going to a conference and setting up a booth. It's what experience are you creating for specific demographics, different functions, different roles outside of the vendor floor and in a more intimate space so that people can start really building and establishing relationships.
Okay. So you say AI will be smarter. I guess it'll be left to find out if humans get dumber in that process. But thanks for sitting down with us. For those listeners and viewers that want to connect with you or learn more about Shaker, where do you send them?
Shaker.com first and foremost. We have a brand new site. It's gorgeous, a lot of good information. And you can always find me on LinkedIn. So
Shaker.com.
That's it.
Easy peasy, nacho cheesy.
My
Thanks,
guy.
man. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Appreciate you, John.